is my moment, watch me shine. I'm unstoppable, feel it in my soul. Good vibes only, I'm in control. Turn the music up, let the rhythm roll. I move my body, I'm alive, I glow. Unstoppable, dancing through the fire. Every step higher, taking me higher. Smile so big, can't hold it in. Good vibes, good life, let's begin. Every scar made me wiser. Every tear lit the fire. I don't fear what's ahead.
And I am live, everybody. Happy, amazing Monday. It's been a while, guys. Though I went live on my business page and my personal page last Sunday when my family and I decided to go to the beach and have picnics over there. But it's so nice to continue my go live. I have been bombarded and really focusing at work. That's why I didn't really had time to. No, that's not an excuse actually. So I didn't had a chance. I changed the language. Didn't had a chance to go live out here since I have been helping my little girl on her assignments. Oh my goodness, 2 more weeks to go and they're done at school. So I'm trying to figure it out where I'm gonna bring them after this. Probably I will enroll them on the summer camp, right? So they can be active and continue, you know, doing their own thing, right? So it's they're not be on the TV all the time or in a cell phone all the time. So grateful to be here, guys. So for those of you who doesn't know me, my name is Araneth. I am the face behind this business page, personal page, and my YouTube page. Hello, hello, hello. So tonight is also a part of my 90 days Go and Success challenge that I have been doing with my business partners and I have been doing with my team as well. So even though I have not done this for a long time, I don't stop, right? I continue even though I don't do it every single day because I really want to finish what I started. That's really the goal. As long as even though you slow down, you continue doing it. So again, if you are someone who has been trying to carry everything alone, trying to be strong for everyone, trying to provide for your family, and trying to balance works, bills, motherhood, responsibilities, and your dreams, then this message is for you. And if it's not, then you're probably this is not probably the one for you guys, right? But if you have ever quietly felt overwhelmed, mentally exhausted, emotionally stretched, while still showing up every single day with a smile on your face, I want you to know this. You were meant to do life. You were never, you were never meant to do life alone. So the topic for tonight is all about community and how this community impacted my life, my personal life, my career life, and my business life, right? So, one of the biggest lessons I've learned in life through my career in banking, because I've been working in banking industry, doing a detective work, right? Motherhood, entrepreneurship, leadership, and personal growth is this: community matters more than people realize. And honestly, guys, I didn't always understand this because growing up, especially as an immigrant, many of us were taught to just to work harder. We keep pushing, handle it yourself, we don't burden people, we figure it out. And while resilience is beautiful, trying to do everything alone becomes exhausting. As someone who has spent years and years in banking, right? I've been working in a bank for 20 years now, especially and recently, uh, 14 years in I work from teller going to a manager, and that took me 14 years and 6 years doing the uh, uh, you know doing fraud detective, right? Doing detection job, right? So again, doing fraud investigations, my career really taught me something really interesting. You know those patterns, right? Pattern matter. Even though if we're doing a fraud investigation, we have to study the pattern. The system matters, and that's something that I use to run my business. Support matters. That's the community, the people that you're surrounding with. That's the mentor also, that you're aligning yourself. And even in the banking, we never solve complicated situations alone. We escalate, we collaborate, we ask questions, we lean on experts, right? We support one another because one person cannot see everything. And life works the same way. Sometimes we stay stuck because we are trying to solve problems in isolation, right? Just like in my personal story. And I'm gonna relate this into my career and my business as well. There was a season in my life when I felt like I was carrying so much. Like, for example, like I'm working overtime 6 days a week, 8 to 10 hours every single day in my banking world, right? Managing pressure at work, being a mother, right? Trying not to miss milestones of my kids. And there was a time that you feel really guilty when I wasn't fully present, trying to help my children, trying to support my family back home, trying to grow personally also because I invested so much money for myself, right? And trying to build something more for our future, my kids' future. And I'm being real, guys. There were moments where I felt alone too. Moments where I really questioned myself, like, can I really do all these things? Moments where I wondered that can I really create another path despite all these things that's happening in my life at the moment, right? Can someone really like me actually build something while working full time? Because of course I was holding my 4-month old son back then. I have a full time job, on maternity leave of absence, then pandemic hit, then my dad got sick, and then all of a sudden, how do I know that my job is secured? As there's so many people, colleagues, business clients that we have closing their doors because of the pandemic. And honestly, guys, there were moments where I wanted to quit too. But what changed everything for me was a community. You know, community changed everything. I found myself surrounded by people who were dreaming bigger. And I am that kind of person. I love taking a risk, people who believe in possibilities, people who reminded me that I was capable for more, right? People really encouraged me when results were not yet visible. And people also reminded me, don't quit, Arnath, and don't and let me tell you something. Sometimes you need people to hold belief for you until you build enough belief in yourself, right? I'm gonna repeat that again. Sometimes you need people to hold belief for you until you build enough belief in yourself. And that reminds me of my mentor, Bob Proctor. He believed in me. He hold that belief in me until I changed my inner world. And then once, because of his lessons, right? Consistently showing up on myself every single day, consistently changing my belief, planted that new belief. Because honestly, guys, I borrow someone else's belief because my belief system is not really working before, and now I borrow someone else's belief, and that belief is the anchor of my success, right? So yeah, sometimes your faith feels weak too. Sometimes fear becomes so loud, right? Sometimes disappointments hits really hard, and those moments really is that's where community matters, because community reminds you you are not crazy for dreaming bigger. You are not behind, you are not failing, you are growing. And this really reminds me one of the quote of Jim Ran. He said that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And when I first heard that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, it made me really deeply. You know, who was I surrounded myself with? That was the question that it stuck into my mind. Where were the people around me are inspiring, growth, right? Or were they feeding fear? Were they helping me expand or keeping me small? Because the truth is, guys, environment really shapes your identity, and your identity shapes your outcomes. And let me tie this in with my mentor, Bob Proctor. That one thing I learned through my journey with him is awareness is everything. Sometimes the reason why we stay stuck is not because we lack of intelligence, not because we lack work ethic, not because we are lazy, right? But because we are operating from old programming. And the right environment help us think differently, speak differently, believe differently, and dream differently. That is the power of supportive community. And I truly believe that God places certain people in your life for seasons. Seasons to stretch you, to strengthen you, to encourage you, and to remind you who you are when life makes you forget, right? Because sometimes the answer to your prayer arrives through people. And this is one of my favorite, that I truly believe that God is using me to answer someone else's prayer. You will become the beacon of someone else's success. And I truly believe in that. So tonight, guys, I really want to ask you as a reflection, who are you surrounding yourself with? Are they helping you become better? Are they helping you grow? Or are they feeding fear, negativity, doubt, and limitation? Because your environment really matters more than you think. I lose a lot of friends, to be honest. When I started my personal development journey, people, because they are not in the same vibration like me, they they quit talking to me, because they miss the old version of me, and that old version of me was mostly in fear, doubt, worry, and it's not really the same RNF. That's why I don't really recognize myself, because I've grown so much, right? And how this community of people really impacted my journey. You know, uh, I can be honest. I don't think I will be where I am today without community, right? I don't mean just people around me, I mean the right people, right? When I first started looking for another way, right, guys, I was honestly searching as a working mom in the banking industry, handling pressure most of the time, right? Trying to miss milestones with my kids. I know many working parents understand this feeling. I know you love your career, but at the same time, you quietly wonder, can life feel lighter, right? Can I still provide and be present? Can I still create more flexibility? That question changed everything for me, right? Because the truth is, I didn't really start as confident person. I didn't know everything. In When I started this business, I wasn't really tech savvy. I had doubts. I overthought. I even questioned myself. I was scared of failing too, right? It's because I don't see the bigger picture yet during that time. I was scared of failing. Yeah, scared of judgment, what people think about me. That was the old version of myself. But right now, what people think about me is none of my business, right? That's their business. It's not my business. If I want to be successful and they don't want me to be successful, then they are not the supportive people that I want. It's not the people that I want to support, to be surrounded with, right? I was also scared of judgment. Every time I go live and then like, oh my gosh, I'm already thinking something that didn't happen, right? We're always full of assumption. And this assumption wasn't true. It's just something that pops in your head. And then one thing that I really question, like, is this even true or not? Or maybe it's just like the old version of me is trying to stop me of not doing my life, right? So sometimes when you have those negative thoughts, pause a little bit. Ask yourself, is this thought is really true or not? Or is just something created by a doubts or worry, right? Or limitations. And when and you know the answer, your intuition speak right easily. Like, no, I'm not. You're not that person, aren't it? Those are just doubts and worry. It doesn't want you to move forward or grow, right? So yeah, so scared of wasting time, but I had one thing, a burning desire. A burning desire to become more present for my kids, a burning desire to create another option, a burning desire to not miss moments with my children. They're still young, right? I have 12 years old and 6 years old. And this really reminds me of one of the powerful quote from Napoleon Hill. And he did says that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And another one that deeply changed me is a burning desire is the starting point of all achievement. That quote stayed with me when I studied the Think and Grow Rich book because desire is powerful, guys. When your reason becomes bigger than fear, you move, right? That's why having a community impact is just massively changed the way I am now. But honestly, what helped me stay in the game was also my community, the encouragement, the accountability partners, the mentorship, the personal development, the reminder that growth takes time. There's no such thing as overnight success. It takes time, right? Remember, you plant a seed. You can't just dig that seed all the time, right? No, you have to plant the seed, water it with love, with sunshine, right? Remove the weeds that are not needed. And then the roots, even though you don't see it yet growing, but you don't know what's happening underneath or beneath the surface. Those so strong roots are trying to find ways to build the foundation of that. Then after that, then the plant grows. It's the same thing in our business, right? Once you just started the business and you're already rich tomorrow, no, it's not gonna work. You have to really feed your minds with positivity, study, or surround yourself with amazing people, personal development. You have to learn how to do this. You have to surround yourself with people who motivate you, inspire you, and you have to have a burning desire to to move forward. Because if you don't have a desire, then you just give up easily, right? Yeah. So people who believe in me when I'm still learning to believe in myself, right? That was a big reminder for me too. And let me tie this down to self growth. My community introduced me books, right? Personal development, thinking differently, awareness, faith, so much training, discipline, morning routines, right? Identity work. What else? And little by little, you will your change. You start to change. It's not overnight, but gradually, and success started internally before anything external happened. And also reminds me about the quote from Mother Teresa. Oh, this is a really nice quote. There is a beautiful quote. I don't know where I read that from Mother Teresa. She did mention that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that is exactly how I feel. Growth feels lighter when you have support, right? So tonight, who are the people that change your life? Appreciate them, be grateful for them, send them a message, right? Call them. And have you really thanked them lately? I do that all the time. Sometimes when I do journaling, and I always remind me of this person that really stood up in my life that changed me as a person. Yeah. So I don't want this just to be talking, right? I want us to to so feel free to send comments as well, because sometimes the question you are afraid to ask is exactly the same question someone else is silently thinking. So feel free to drop a message if this really resonates to your story too. And one thing I learned through banking, leadership, motherhood, mentorship, and business is this: people people don't need perfection. People need connection, right? Yeah, that's powerful. People need someone who understands. People need safe conversations. As a working parent, so let me ask you this: for all the hardworking moms and parents watching, if you're not a parent, if I know you're probably supporting someone else, what is your biggest struggle right now? Was it time? Was it burnout? Or probably bills? Feeling overwhelmed, missing family milestones? So many, right? Stress, career growth, or career pressure? Drop in the comments, guys, because I see you. And let me say this: you are doing better than you think. Sometimes life feels heavy, and I totally agree, but hard seasons do not mean hard forever. This is just temporary. According from Napoleon Hill, it's a temporary defeat, right? And then if money, or let's say if money and fear were not an issue, what would your dream life actually look like? Would you travel, spend more time with your kids, or wake up peacefully, feel less stressed, right? Or work differently? So let me know. Because why? This reminds me of the quote of my mentor, Bob Proctor, and I really love it. You are not what you are. Again, you are not what you are. You are what you think you are. Right? That's a beautiful quote from him. You are not what you are what you think you are. And sometimes, before life changes, we must first change the image we hold of ourselves, right? So, this is going to be a short. Um, this is going to be a short live. So I really want to close this one tonight. And I hope tonight reminded you too. You don't have to do life alone. And if no one told you this lately, keep going. Your dreams matter, your healing matters, your family matters, and the version of you that refuses to quit is already making your future proud. That's why, whatever life do you want to manifest 2 years from now or 5 years from now, bring that into the present moment. How does it feel like that you are living your best life right now? Right? And then stay there, hold that image, and don't let it go, and hold that emotions as well, and never let it go, because once you've been holding that image and emotions, then the outside world will do the rest, right? That's where the opportunity showed up. That is where the people showed up. That is where the plots, the drama shows up too. And you'll be surprised, like, how in the world I manifested these people in front of me. Because you know why? You ask for it, right? You ask for it. When you ask and believe, you achieve it, right? Yeah, so that's something that I really want to share it with you guys. That's why, and something that I really want to share this also. You know what I realize? Sometimes the stronger people are the loneliest people, especially hardworking moms or parents, right? Especially professionals too, especially people everyone depends on, because people look at you and think, oh, she's strong, She has it together. She'll figure it out. But what they don't really see are the silent tears, the pressure, the overthinking, the exhaustion, the night you wonder if you're doing enough. Oh, what else? The guilt of missing moments, the feeling of trying so hard to succeed at work while still wanting to be fully present at home, right? And honestly, guys, I know that feeling because many years in the banking, right, especially being in a leadership role and doing these financial crimes, there's always a pressure to perform, to pressure to solve problems, in the business world, pressure to lead teams, right? Pressure to hit the metrics, pressure to remain calm even when situations become difficult. And sometimes you really quietly carry all of that home with you, right? And then on top of that, you're a mom, you're a parent, and you're not helping with homework. Oh my gosh. I mean, you're now helping with homework. That's just like earlier today. I've been helping my little girl finish her homework because it's just like 2 weeks more, which she needs to improve her grade, right? It's up and down and up and down. And then you're there cooking, cleaning, trying to create memories, trying to stay emotionally present, right? And if you're like me, sometimes you feel guilty. Am I present enough? Right? You so many questions, and that guilt can feel heavy. But this exactly, and that's the reason why I did mention earlier that community matters because community really reminds you that you don't have to carry everything by yourself. Sometimes healing begins when someone simply says, I understand. Just like me, right? I have leads that came in this morning and the pressure, right? You have to really put your shoes in their shoes. And I always say, I understand. I've been there. You're not alone. You have to keep going. And honestly, sometimes one encouraging message from someone else changes someone's the whole week, right? And this also reminds me of the beautiful quote from what's her name? From Keller, from Helen Keller. She did mention that alone we can do little. Together we can do so much. And wow, isn't that true? Think about life. Think about success. Think about parenting. Think about healing. Think about your dreams too. Everything becomes lighter when you stop trying to do it alone, right? One of the things I love most about this business journey is the community. I mentioned that earlier. And no, I'm not talking about the perfect people, right? I'm talking about the ordinary people trying to create something better for themselves too, right? There's so many working moms here, healthcare professionals, corporate, immigrant families, teachers, nurses, parents, right? People quietly praying for another option, right? People who wanted more time and freedom, people who want to stop surviving and start living again. And something beautiful happens when people start believing together. And that's the reason why I love this community so much because we really does support each other. That makes this business very unique, right? And this reminds me of the law of environment that Jim Ran mentioned. He talked about the law of environment. One join, oh my gosh, I've totally forget. Jim Ran mentioned that don't join an easy crowd. You won't grow. Go where the expectations and the demands to perform are high. I repeat that again. That's from the quote of Jim Ran. Don't join an easy crowd. You won't grow. Go where the expectations and the demands to perform are high. And when I heard that, I realized something. Growth requires environment because the right people challenge you not to compete but to grow. So again, I'm gonna share this reflection. I really want you to think about this. Who are you spending the most time with? And what conversations are shaping your mindset? Are those people around you really helping you to dream big or helping you to stay comfortable? Because comfort can quietly become the enemy of your growth, right? So this is a really good uh, question to really think about. And one quote that I really want to share too from Les Brown, he did share this one in one of our uh, Zoom meeting in Napoleon Hill Institute. And Les Brown did mention that you have to be willing to do the things today. Uh, what's the word? You have to be willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. I'll repeat that again. You have to be willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. What does it mean? That means like growth feels uncomfortable, change feels uncomfortable, learning something new feels uncomfortable, but staying the same forever, that felt even more uncomfortable, right? Like, wow, just like that's really, just thinking about it, that really makes me smile, because like he is so right. When you try something new, the first time I write my goal using my left hand, it's so uncomfortable because I am using the dominant hand, right? I'm using the dominant hand writing my goal. And then all of a sudden, Bob Proctor told me, like, you have to write your C type goal using your left hand. Like, oh my gosh, I'm fighting with my thought. Like, this is really ridiculous. But that was one of the best practice that I've done. Oh my God, how long I've been doing that now? 5 years, 5 years, more than 5 years now. And now I become an expert. That's why it's so uncomfortable the first time you start using your left hand, because you never done that. Or your non-dominant hand. Because if you're left-handed, I understand it's easy for you to do. But once you use your non-dominant hand to write something, it's so freaking uncomfortable. And it's the same thing with the risking yourself to try something new. It's so uncomfortable because you don't see the bigger picture. It's so uncomfortable using your non-dominant hand because sometimes it goes up, it's crooked, it's not straight. It seems like uh just it's like a chicken, right? A chicken scratch. I can't even write my name. But the more I do it, the more persistent I am of not giving up. Now it looks better than the one that my penmanship on my dominant hand. See? So my left hand, my dominant hand is like, I admire my penmanship. And then this one, my penmanship on my dominant is totally different, right? So now I know, and this makes me laugh too, because now that I know how to write my name using my non-dominant hand, what I'm gonna do, and then you know what Bob Proctor said: use your left toe. Like I cannot do that. But it's so funny. But again, sometimes first thing that you never done anything before, it's so uncomfortable. But the more you do it, the more you become better, right? That's why personal development really changed everything for me. My community introduced me to things I had never prioritized before. Books, I don't really read books because every time I read books, I end up sleeping. But right now I love books. I have a lot of collections of really great books. My mindset changed. Morning routine is my favorite one. I have a morning routine. Believe it or not, I wake up at 3:33 in the morning, right? I use that time to meditate, to be alone, to be alone and focus on my breathing, to be alone with God. I use the time to do visualization. I use the time to do my identity work, creating my self image. Because again, guys, before success becomes internal, it becomes because before success become external, it becomes internal, right? And one quote that I've learned from my mentor Bob that really changed me: if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand, right? And I started asking myself, what kind of life am I truly imagining? What kind of mother do I want to become? What kind of a leader and what kind of example, right? So yeah, I'm so grateful. When I look back, I really, really feel grateful for every mentor, every accountability partner, my teammate, those lessons, those setbacks, and then the season, right? Because all of those really shaped me, right? So that's why I want us to be real tonight, because again, social media can sometimes make life look perfect, but life is not perfect. Growth is messy, healing is messy, right? Dream building is messy. And I want this to be safe space for everybody. Like, don't be scared to get messy, to make mistakes, because those mistakes is aligning you into something, into the person that you want to become, right? Right. And I really want to end this into one powerful quote by Maya Angelou. I really love bringing quotes in here that I've read from every book, because it really does resonates to my journey. And she did mention from that quote is, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that's my hope here, that whenever you live these lives, right, you live feeling encouraged, seen, supported, hopeful, and reminded that you are capable of more than you think. That's why if this message resonated with you tonight, right, just say hi, right? What is one thing you are believing for in the next season of your life? Because I'd love to pray for you, encourage you, and cheer for your journey. That's why, again, having a community, a supportive community, not only there for you, but also looking after you, that one day, right, that you are in the position now to really inspire other people as well, right? So that's it for me tonight. That's my sharing for this 90 days 90 days Quran Success Challenge, and it's all about community. So thank you so much, Lucy. Thank you so much for motivational words tonight. You're welcome, and thank you. Oh, Gayan, I miss you. I hope you are doing well, right? So that's it, everybody. And for those 6 million viewers that is watching right now, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if no one has said this to you yet, I love you guys and have a good night. Bye-bye.
This is my moment, watch me shine. I'm unstoppable.